Crannogs are found all over Scotland and Ireland. There are more than 600 in Scotland, and new sites are still being discovered. The North of Scotland Archaeological Society have been hunting unlisted crannogs. Starting at home, a team led by Richard Guest took a bird's eye view using online mapping technology.
We allocated the 10 kilometre squares to different members of the group. They scanned through satellite images to see if they could spot any little islands that might prove to be crannogs which weren't already on the historical record. We narrowed it down to about 20 in the west and south, and I think we had about 36 in the Inverness area that we thought were worth going to look at on site. We've looked at all the Inverness area ones, and we're working our way through these 20 odd on the west coast. At the moment we've probably looked at about half of them.
Volunteers visited possible new sites. When scrutinised, many of the most attractive proved to be just natural islands.
This little island looked very, very likely to be a crannog. It's not very high above the water, it's almost round, you can see some stones around the edge, but because of the tree cover you can't really see very much at all. So one chilly day we went and canoed out. Once we got underwater it was quite clear that this is just bedrock. There was nothing to indicate that there was a pile of rocks there that had been made man-made.
Now their attention is focused on Loch Tachdaidh in the West Highlands.
Now if we look at that on the satellite image, you can see it's actually got what appear to be two causeways linking it to the mainland. But there is another island in Loch Tachdaidh, that's this one, and only one of our members managed to get to that last year. He rowed out and he said he thought it looked quite likely, but we didn't have a big enough boat to get everybody across or to take any gear across, so we had to leave without really knowing whether this was a crannog or not. So that's where we're going tomorrow to have a proper look. It's a very, very wild and remote area. This is partly dive gear and partly surveying equipment, because if we find it is a crannog we want to measure it up and come away with a proper plan of it as well.
Just a good job there's a track somewhere near the loch, so
yeah.
don't fancy carrying all this stuff in.
No, absolutely. When you see the amount of gear we need, then we need some sort of accessibility, and tomorrow's one of the remotest we're ever likely to get to, I think, but at least we've got a boat and an Argo cat to get us somewhere near.
It's 15 miles on a track to Loch Monar, where the estate are providing a fast boat west and off-road vehicles for the rough ride to Loch Tachdaidh.
Without the help of the landowner and the crew here, we just couldn't bring the equipment in. We might be able to walk in, and people do walk in, but not with the equipment that we've got.
Records list 2 crannogs in this remote loch, but only through word of mouth. The team were here last year and were able to survey an unusual shaped island near the shore.
There was nothing about the island that seemed artificial to us, but undoubtedly there are artificial, like causeways of stone linking the mainland that we're standing on with the island. And it's really curious. If there was just one causeway, that would suggest that maybe it was used for a crannog or for a purpose. But the fact that there are 2 on either side strongly suggests to us that maybe this wasn't a prehistoric Iron Age crannog. When we were here last year, we looked across at the island beyond that and thought that looks much more like an artificial island, a crannog.
It's got all the signs from here that it could well be one, but until we manage to have a look underwater and see if we can see evidence of it being a pile of stones on the bed of the loch, as opposed to the loch bed just coming up and then down again, we won't really know. So that's why we're here.
Maybe this small island is the listed but unexplored Crannog. Initial signs are promising.
Just out here, just behind me, there's a definite drop-off where it goes into deeper water. So it may be that that's the actual edge. If it is artificial, that might be the edge there. But when we get in the water properly, we'll be able to have a better look at that.
But even as the underwater exploration continues, an inspection of the upper surface of the island is looking less hopeful.
And we've looked for anything that's constructed, like courses of stonework or platforms, and there's nothing obvious. And then lastly, there's some very significantly big stones that form part of this small island, and far too big for prehistoric people to have brought them here, which suggests that they were originally here, which suggests that this was just a natural island. So a lovely day to be here. We're enjoying the wildlife.
So you've got no stone, but as we followed it along, it doesn't go around the island, it curves off towards the shore. So it must be a natural feature, I think.
The alleged Crannog remains a mystery. It isn't this island either.
We've probably disproved that this official record is a crannog. It isn't. I think we have to come to the conclusion it's just a natural feature.